My name is Emmanuel Madanga, and I'll be taking you through an end-to-end Microsoft Excel dashboard and how to build it from scratch. So the dataset we're going to use is customer churn dataset, which I have it in Excel as Telco churn dashboard. So this is the dataset I want to use for building this powerful Microsoft Excel dashboard. However, to make our work smooth, I will have a structured problem statement which we'll use step by step so that we can implement our solution in Microsoft Excel really quick. So let me start by sharing my screen so that we can look at a description of all the variables that we have in our data. And so this will help us in saving much time. And also we'll be learning on how to structurally approach problems. So whenever you are given a data set, you are expected of drawing insights from that data. And so without proper planning, you will not be able to achieve what you're supposed to achieve. So let me share my screen and let's get started. Okay, so you can see my screen. This is the structure we are going to use to answer some questions here. And this is the data set that we want to generate insights from this specific data. So let's get started. So the first thing is the background of the case study. So this is a telecommunication company which is experiencing customer losses, which we call churn in this case. And so, and this company now wants to understand why customers are leaving, which customers are at high risk of churn, which services and contracts lead to higher retention, and how payment methods and charges influence churn. So you have been hired as a data analyst to analyze the churn dataset, which we have it in Excel, using pivot tables, building interactive Excel dashboards. They also deliver insights for business decision making. The second objective of this, the objective of this project will be, by the end of this project, as a learner, you'll be able to learn how to clean and prepare a real-world data set, to be ready for analysis, create pivot tables for analysis. Of course, through this, we are going to look at how to work with Power Query editor in order to extract, transform, and load our data, ETL process. And then in this process, you're also going to learn how to come up with a powerful Microsoft Excel dashboard, which will be covering pivot tables and how to put that into professional Excel dashboard. And then from there, we'll be able to interpret insights and make recommendations out of it. So key business question that need to be answered is, what is the overall churn rate, which we'll be looking at it. Which customers groups churn the most, which customer groups churn most. Then does contracts type affect churn? So we'll be looking at some of these things. Also, does your tenure influence churn? And then which services experience the high churn. And then do monthly charges and payment methods actually affect the churn? So which customers are at high risk and so on. Okay, so the dataset contains all these type of variables that you see here listed. And here is the description of these respective variables, as it's very, very important to understand this variable. Customer ID is basically a unique identifier of each customer. Gender is basically male or female. And then senior citizen, this looks at indicating whether someone is a senior citizen or not. And then we have gender. Of course, we've already looked at that. Then we have if someone is a partner. So we're trying to show whether a customer has spouse or a partner. And then dependents, this is whether you are subscribed. Of course, do you have some dependents like family members, like children? And then we have tenure. This is the duration of in number of months that the customer who has subscribed has been able to access our services. Then the phone services, so these are type of services that someone can be subscribed for. So you can see we have services on phone service, multiple lines, internet service, online security, online backup, device protection. We have tech support and all these other services. And then we have payment method, monthly charges, and then now we have total charges, which is a multiplication between the monthly charges and the tenure. And then finally we have churn rate with the churn variable, which is either a yes or no. Yes meaning that that customer is no longer with this company, and no means that this customer or the specific customer are still part of the organization. So just save, ensure your data is saved as telco underscore churn underscore dataset dashboard, as I already saved mine. And then the second part is to convert our data into pivot table, into a table in Excel, not a pivot table, but just basically a table in Excel. So there's different ways of doing this. And then we'll rename our table to be churn data. So let's do that really quick. So we'll come to our Excel, and then you can see that our data is not in table. So why tables are important in Microsoft Excel is that they are dynamic. They perform automatic dynamic updates. Whenever I add a new column, whenever I add a new row, they automatically update. The dynamic tables are very powerful. So powerful tables are very powerful in Excel. They help specifically in terms of dynamic automatic updates. So there's a different ways of creating a table in Excel. You can just click on Control T on your machine and you'll see this highlighted. Just click on OK, and you'll already have a table for yourself. Alternatively, you can go to Insert and also click on Table, and then you click on OK. This is also the same way on how to create a table. And thirdly, you can go to Format as a table, just on Home tab, and then look for the specific design table that you want and click on OK. This one will also give you a table that you want. So this table is called table 3, so we'll rename this to be called churn data. So that is the name of our pivot table. That's the first step that you perform. And then once you have this, let's go to back to our documentation. Now we have already converted our data into a table, and then of course my table has header was already checked, and then we named our table churn data. So we go to check some data cleaning checks to just ensure that everything works well. As I say, so once we're here, you can be able to locate if you have some missing values in the data. Of course, the easiest way is usually to look at once the column is in tables, you can click on this drop down and you'll see whenever you see blank, that means that there is a blank entry. So you might need to handle that missing value, which includes also blank rows. Blank rows are also treated as missing values, of course, the table. And so once you have this, now we can proceed with checking other aspects. So the first aspect we want to check on our data is the column known as tenure, which is the number of months someone spent in organization in this company while subscribed on different services. Of course, this tenure represents the number of months actually. And so we need to ensure that this is numeric. So we'll just go to home. Instead of having it as general, let's have it as a number. And there is no decimal places, so you'll just reduce it to 0 decimal places. And then you come to monthly. We said that tenure multiplied by the monthly gives us the total charge. So we'll also do the same here. For monthly charge, we'll make it currency. And we'll make it to be dollar instead of I'll make it dollar instead of Kenya shillings. Let's make it a dollar. So just look for USD, but of course you can use the other option of the USD, the dollar sign. But I'm looking for the one that's written USD. So once you locate this, select it, click on OK. Of course, you can decide number of decimal places that you want on this data, and then you click on OK, and you'll see that now this is USD. So there's a difference between the USD you see there and the typed USD. So there is that big difference. This one is not numeric at all. So when you try to add this number with another number, you get that you have a problem of adding that number. Let me show you an example. When I try to sum, let me say I want to sum these two cells, I'll get a 0 because these ones are treated as not numbers. However, when I sum this other side, you can see even from the formula bar that these are actually numeric. But when you come to this one, you'll see that it's USD that is typed. So that's how the difference. Always you look for that in case you get someone who wants support in terms of making their currency unit work. And so once you have this is good. Now we can go to monthly charges as well and perform just the same thing that we did. So let's go to more and click on a currency and switch from Kenya shillings to USD. And of course, Excel provides you with dynamic or different ways on how you can be able to handle negative values. That's why you'll see that down here, negative number, you have different ways of representing that negative number, which is also very important. Now, once we are done with that, just click on OK, and you'll see that this one has also been converted to be a USD. Okay. All right. So once that is done, then we can go back to our work. So these are a few data cleaning checks that we usually perform. So that's very, very important for us. That's very, very important for us. All right. So when we go back to our data, our guide, we have already looked at this, handled these cases, and there is no missing value. for these particular columns. We just ensure that the currency is correct, and of course we call it data types. Okay, then now from here we'll proceed to the next steps. The next step is to ensure that this is numeric. We have already handled that, and also these are currency values. We have already handled that. So these ones have no problem. So we go to the step 4, which is creating new helper columns. So we just want to create these helper columns. Of course, you can use if statement. Basically, I'll show you how to use Power Query on this, but you can use a function to help you do that as well. So I'll show you using Power Query. So you come to, of course, this is our data. Just go to the data tab and click on this drop down for getting data, and you can launch a Power Query editor from here. However, this is like a different way of launching a Power Query editor, and then you later be required to pull that data to make a connection first for that data to be recognized by Microsoft Excel Power Query editor as a table. So for this case, we will not use that approach. We will come to the data tab, and then we'll click on from table and range. So this will mean that we want to work on this data, but this data is coming from this table and range, and so we can be able to transform this data. So just click on from table and range, and then you give it a few, of course, few seconds, a few minutes, and the Power Query editor will be able to load. Okay, now you can see our Power Query editor loading. Power Query editor loading. So this is our data set. As you can see it, this is our data set. Now, while in the Power Query editor, of course, there are a few things. If you're new to the Power Query editor, there is already a class on this that we conducted. But basically, what you can be able to do is to familiarize yourself with the interface. It's more or less just like Excel, but with advanced features for transforming our data, adding new columns, and so on. So basically, always look at the data types. You will always see ABCD will mean this is string or text. This is string or text. This is a number, 1, 2, 3, ABC, and so on. So if you also want to check the quality of each of the columns, you just go to the View tab and ensure that you check column profile. So this, when you click on this, you'll be able to see the description. If you have any empty columns or empty strings, not empty columns, but empty rows, you'll see the number of empty rows here. Same case, when you go to gender, you also see that analysis here. And it will also be showing you like distribution of gender, as you can see, between male and female. And then when you come to senior citizen, you can also see the value distribution. As you can see, is either yes or no, and these are some of the statistics of this particular column. So this is how you can quickly check if you have missing values easier while using the Power Query editor. And then we also have quality, column quality, which usually pops up at the very top. This is common between Power BI, Power Query, and also the Microsoft Excel Power Query. So you can actually check the quality from the very top, looking at the percentage of the valid values. If you have errors, you'll always see that. And you can see everything here is 100%, meaning that there is no any missing values. Everything empty is totally at 0% of each and every column. So this is how quickly you can be able to identify missing values. You might see some inconsistency like here, which might actually help you trigger something out. So you can just keenly check and see what is actually happening here. And in case of that particular scenario, and then what could that issue be? So this is how you can quickly sort that out. So when you look at 0, everything is 0, none, this is 0, and you can see we have some 3 empty. entries. Let's go to this column known as total charges and let's see why is it having empty, yet we have monthly charges and the tenure as well being 0%. You can see. So we want to understand where is this discrepancy coming from for these total charges, as this total charges is a column that has been computed basically from day 2. Okay, so I'll just close this, but I will not save. So I'll just discard this and I'll actually check where the issue is. Let's first click here and see if we'll see any inconsistency with our own eyes. You can see at the very bottom that we have blank, and so that will mean we can uncheck this and actually just remain with blank and unselect all by just clicking on this checkbox, and then now scroll down to the blanks. So you scroll down to the blanks. I'll check this blank. Click on OK, and you'll see these columns are blank. So we can now, here now raises a concern that we need to find out why are they blank. So when we look at the tenure, we have 0, 0, 0. So when you take a number, these are zeros, 0 multiplied by this, and multiply by this, so everything here will be 0. So we'll see how we can replace such like scenarios in Power Query Editor. Of course, Power Query Editor should recognize these numbers as null. So let's see. Of course, we can just replace here 0, 0, 0 for the rest of all, but let's see how we can detect that with the Power Query Editor. So I'll just check. This is row 6, 7, 56, 6, 7, 56. So let's select everything. And then we'll just click on OK. Just minute. Yep. So okay. So let's call again the Power Query Editor and see that. Okay. So let's see if we will be able to spot that null. So here, you see, it's called null. So what we will do, we will come here. Let me just uncheck under view. Let me uncheck column profile. Column profile is the one that pops below here, while the column quality looks at the very top. So I'll just uncheck this. And then now here, you can see that the total charges here, you can see the total charges. And so what we want to do is we want to replace these null values with a correct value. So with the 0. So we'll just click here and go to, you can see under home, you will see replace values. Click on the replace values under home and you will specify. Of course, you have to have selected this column known as null, and then now replace value. You can give it a value which can be like 0 as we said, and click on OK. So that means anywhere we have null, we'll have that as 0. And you can see that this empty has now gone to 0%. And you can see the valid values that we have is 100%. That's why it's very important to use the column quality checks and also the column profile checks. So this helps to ensure that there is healthy data here. Healthy data here. And then I'll just close this. Now that's fasting, but that's now okay. Now I wanted to show how we can create these two columns with Power Query So we want to create a column known as tenure group. That means that we want to create categories that a customer who has spent less than 12 months, which is like 1 year, less than or equal to 12 months, which is exactly 1 year, we will categorize them between 0 and 1 years. So what do? We'll come to add column here, click on conditional column. Remember, if statements are conditional statements, if statements are conditional statements in programming, so we will go for conditional column in Excel. So we'll specify the column name we want is tenure group. And then the column name, we will give it tenure. Select tenure. So if tenure is less than or equal to 12, then assign these 0 to 1 years. So we are creating the first group that any value that lies between 0 and 12 in the tenure column, so to be categorized as 0 to 1 years. So that is exactly the thing that this function is doing here in the first instance. Now that we have another condition, we cannot end our conditional statement in the Power Query editor until we add this second component, which is now focusing on those less than or equal to 24 years. So suppose the first condition fails, then now test the following condition. That's what Microsoft Excel is telling. Our condition is telling Microsoft Excel what to do in case the first condition is not met. Then now test the second one, which will be testing now if this is less than 24. And this will mean that this one is between 1 and 2 years. Yeah. And then from this, then now we can come here to go back here so that you can see the relationship. So we have also implemented this part. So we are remaining with this last part. And you can see that this last part doesn't have an if statement. That's why this one will be our else. So if is usually associated with an else statement at the end. So if else. So if else. But suppose you have conditions that are multiple, then you will have if, then you will have else if test the first condition. If the first condition is met, then perform a particular task. If not, test the if else. Then from there, proceed and they'll test the next. If there is not test also met, you can also test another if else. Like that until you reach to else. Else is now otherwise. So this is what we are performing in the Power Query editor. So if you cannot understand this, no problem. So you can just use the Power Query editor to help you perform that. But this is the function that performs exactly the same thing in Power Query. Just ensure that your column tenure is in small letters. Of course, you can refer to that specific column in Excel without typing tenure by your own hands. Then else now, we can say over 2 years, just like that. And once you're done, just click on OK. And you'll see that you have created a new column with the categories. So we want to drag this and put it together closer to the other one. Just move like that. Looking for tenure. More close again. Here it is. Okay, so you can see that this column is a combination of numeric and alphabets. This column is totally characters. This is characters and numbers. This is characters. This is numbers alone. You can look at this and you'll be able to see. And you can see that all our data is clean here. So we have done that. So we want just to repeat the same scenario, but for the monthly charges. We want to repeat for the same scenario, but for the monthly charges. For the monthly charges, we'll proceed also to add column. Click on conditional column. And then here we will call it monthly category. Let's call it monthly category. Then select the column monthly charges, and the operator is less than or equal to, let's say, 50. So if a customer usually pays per month less than $50, less than or equal to $50, then this to be regarded as low. So this is very important. Yeah, so just checking, yeah, charge category and not monthly category. So I'm just checking that to be sure with what I'm calling my columns. So let's just call it charge category for consistency. So if monthly charges is less than or equal to 50, so you can compare that with your first conditional statement, which is if the monthly charges is less than 50, so we will use less than, not less than or equal to. So let's just use less than 50, then regard it as low. Otherwise, this is else if again the same monthly is less than 90, regard this as medium, and else regard this as high. So that's how we use the if conditions in Excel. But now in this case, we are not using functions. Basically, we are using Power Query Editor. And then you can click on OK once you're done. And now you can see that we have this column charge category, which can be next to this monthly category. So whenever the value is less than 50, you'll see low. Whenever value is less than 90, you'll see medium. And whenever value is otherwise beyond that, is regarded as high. So that's very, very important. And then we go to now part B, which will now be focusing on the pivot tables. So we're going to create multiple pivot tables from these particular data so that we can be able to generate insights from our data. Okay, so the first pivot table we're going to create is overall churn rate. So now this means that our data is ready for analysis. We will need to go back to home, click on close and load, and this will load a new pivot table. As you can see, this is our table, our data now called churn data, which was our table name initially, if you can remember. So I'll just remove some of this, of course, no problem. So we'll just remove that later. So you can see now we have our data now, churn data. And you remember you have our original data set, which you had already formatted as a table, but this is now our clean copy with the new columns, you can see. While this other side, we don't have those specific columns that we have created recently. So yeah, so you can see the difference. This one has the two new groups, new columns we have created. Now we want to start working with pivot table. So I'll create a new sheet, and of course I can just rename this original data. And I can create here a new sheet, and of course I already created a new sheet here, so I can just use this one. So we'll call this pivot tables. So here we will put all our pivot tables in one place. So I'll proceed to the churn data, and then when I'm on the churn data, I will go to, of course I want to insert pivot tables, so I'll go to insert, click on pivot tables. And so, of course, here you'll be asked if you want to create a new sheet or you want to go to an existing sheet. So I just click on existing sheet and click on this location here. Click on this picker for me to go and pick where I want to see my first pivot table. So you navigate to a sheet known as pivot table where you want to see your pivot table. Click on this arrow to go back. Click on OK. So Excel will open this pivot table look like this. Okay. Then now, once I am here, I will now start answering my questions from this place. So I'll just copy this and I will go to my Excel, and I can paste this in this region. So this is my first pivot table looking at the overall churn rate. So if you want a guide, of course, you can run some guide here on how to perform pivot tables. On this guide, look at the description of this video. You can get this guide on how to develop your end-to-end Power BI, Microsoft Excel dashboard using this data. So I've also created this guide. So look in the chat section, in the comment section, you can get this guide step by step. So of course, you just take churn into row, take churn into row, and take a customer ID into values. So this will give us the distribution in terms of the exact numbers of a mail, not mail, but churn and not churn. So for churn is yes and no churn is no. However, with this table, we can't really tell the percentage. So what I'll do, I can take a copy of the same, but now I will just paste here. I copy it, paste here. I can just rename here as churn. This column as churn. Just the same thing. You can also rename this one churn here. That's fine. So I want to have the two, but this other one will be having percentages. So how do we amend these to have percentages? I'll have to come back here to my pivot table fields. And these values, I'll click, instead of having count of customer ID, I'll click on this arrow, this drop down, and I'll go to value field settings. From going to the value field settings, I'll go to show values as, not summarize by. So I'll go to show values as, and then show values as, I'll select from this drop down the percentage of the grand total. And then I'll click on OK. So you will see now that I have this percentage distribution. If I want this percentage to be in one decimal place, I just do that, and I can have that in one decimal place. If I want this to be in rounded to the nearest whole numbers, then I can have it as 27. That is it. So maybe for accuracy, we might maybe make our data to 2 decimal, to 2 decimal. Just leave it at 2 decimal. And now we want to create. Now we now have this as our overall churn rate. So our overall churn rate for this particular company is 26.54%. All right. Now let's go to the second pivot table. So I'll copy this pivot table 2, which will be created here. Okay. Now, the second pivot table is about churn by contract type. I can repeat the same procedures of creating pivot tables, but that one consumes a lot of time. Actually, if you noted last time what I did, I just copied this and pasted here and made the adjustments on this other side. And that is what we want to just do exactly, as that will save us a lot of time. Okay, so that will save us a lot of time. So we just want to do exactly that. So I'll just come here, paste, and then I just change key. Let me just hide this a little bit so that I can have my pivot table there, but I can move it somewhere else. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. All right. Okay. So we are looking at now rows. We want to have contracts, and then columns we want to have churn, and then values we want to have count ID. So what we're doing is we are trying to classify churn by the contract type. So you come here, remove churn from rows. You can take churn to columns, but there is no difference. You can leave them here. You can interchange even your columns, no problem. So, and then now drag your contract to rows. And now you can have this data like this. So now that I interchanged, I will have to rename these ones otherwise. So this one will need to have contract. This one need to be renamed contract. And this one to be renamed churn. Like that. And once I have this now, I have this as numbers. So churn by contract type. So what does this tell us? So we have customers who subscribe to these services on a monthly basis. This means this is monthly subscription. We have those who subscribe for 1 year, and we have those who subscribe for even 2 years. All right. And so in this scenario, you can see that those who are subscribing monthly to monthly and are still customers, they haven't churned. They are 2,220. And then when you look at again the same who are month to month, but they have unsubscribed from the services, they are 1,655. These are a big number compared to the year, those who subscribed for 1 year, and you can see those who subscribed for 2 years. Okay. Why is this important? This is very important because remember the contingency table, the pivot table we see here, they are called contingency tables, and you can actually perform advanced analysis with them. Like you can perform some tests of association, some tests of associations like chi-square, and you can do this with SPSS. You can do this with R. You can do this with Python. You can do this with Stata. And so check out on our YouTube, on our website, BeyondData ICT.com, and so you'll be able to enroll to our data analysis courses. And these courses will help you be able to become a better data analyst. Okay. Now, you can see right now by our own eyes, we can see like this and maybe think, oh, this month to month, maybe this one is a very bad contract because majority of the customers are dropping off. But maybe that could be just our assumption. That is just like a hypothesis. And so we can leverage on that to perform a chi-square test, you see, of association. And so that will help a lot. That will help a lot. Okay. All right. All right. So let's proceed. Now we have this already. We can proceed and perform the next pie chart, the pivot table, which is pivot table 3, which is about churn and the tenure groups. Remember, we created a new column known as tenure group. That's created them so that we can have more analysis insights from the data. So from here, you can see the churn by tenure group. And so what does this mean? We just need to perform the same thing, but for tenure group and churn instead of churn and contract. So this will save us time by just unchecking contract and looking for tenure group where you is here and drag it to rows and you are done. Just like that, you've saved your time. So you're looking at being more efficient. Then next is pivot table 4, which is churned by internet service. So we want also to understand the customers who have dropped from the internet services. So you can see we have that. So it's just the same thing, but instead of having this exact contract, just the tenure, and check tenure and replace it by the internet services. Sorry, there. And then you need to change this from this to internet service. And also we need to change this from contract. Oh, this is contract. It's okay. Which one was, this one was for tenure group. So just change that. Tenure group churn. Tenure group churn. So I just need to refresh. I might need to refresh my pivot tables so that those effects can take place. Okay, I can see that this is contract. This one is supposed to be tenure. Okay, yes, this tenure group. So Just replace here tenure group. Okay, so we categorized that. So we have that already sorted. Okay, and now you can see this one is also sorted here. So we go to the next pivot table that we need to create. We need to create another pivot table of comparing churn with the payment method. Of course, why are we doing this? Remember, this is how we can be able to answer these questions that we had here. We are not just coming up with guesswork on what to compare with what. So you just come up with what would be some insight that we might need from this data, and then formulate your own objectives that you want to achieve, and then perform to answer these questions. That's why you see we have the overall rate, we have the customer groups, churn the most, then we have the contract type affect these, you see, tenure, you can see service experience, and you can see the monthly charges, which is now payment method, and so on. So this is how we generate, we come to decide which pivot tables are we looking at. Okay, so we are on the payment method. So it's just the same thing. Just copy this, go to where you want to see that, paste, and just copy this pivot table, no stress. Paste here. Remember to replace the name. So first we replace this row, payment method. Just drag the payment method here and change this from internet service to payment method. Okay. All right. So you also see those variations in terms of numbers. So how can you easily tell, or how can you tell that actually a difference exists between these, or there's no actually difference between any payment method? What we mean is like there is no there's no association, there is no relationship between the payment method and the churn, meaning payment method is one of the reasons why our customers are leaving. So for you to uncover those insights, you need to perform chi-square test of association. And so we train that in our data analysis classes using whichever software that you want to use. So remember to check on our website for that, BeyondDataICT.com. All right. So we'll proceed to monthly charges versus churn. So in this case, we just copy this, copy this. Monthly charges, we copy this, and let's go to pivot tables, and let's paste here. And remember now, this one is looking at monthly charges versus churn. Okay, this is kind of unique. It's not like this one we were just looking at count of, but let's see what we can be able to do. So let's just paste this one here. So first thing, we want to remove, we don't want customer ID here, and we don't want the payment method here. You see? So we have mentioned churn and monthly charges. Now, remember we created a category known as charge category. That is what can help us create contingency table, which we call pivot table, with a churn. You see? So this one with churn. And then now under values is where you take this, not this, you check the monthly charges to values. The monthly charges to values. And so this one will tell you the monthly charges compared to the churn. So does it mean that these guys who have dropped from our services have always been experiencing high monthly charges compared to the rest of the group? And that's some of the insights that need to be generated. Instead of having some, you can have maybe average. You can just go to values field and change that to average. So let's see what the guide is telling us. So the guide is telling us that put rows, charge category to rows and churn to columns, and then values the average of monthly charges. So that's how you do that. So you change from sum by clicking on this drop down, click on the value field settings, click on average, and click on OK. And you'll now have average of this high, what were they paying here, and what were the paying here, and so on and so on. All right. You can proceed. And the senior citizen, again, this is now pivot table. Copy this pivot table 7. Come here, paste the pivot table, senior citizen and churn. So this is more or less similar to the one even for payment method. Yeah. This one is just the same. So just copy the pivot table alone, paste here, and then now make the changes. Instead of having payment method, replace the payment method with senior citizen. Okay, so just drag this here, and you can see senior citizen. This is yes, no. This is yes, no. No is 0, and yes is 1. Now we have like 7 pivot tables that we have now created. So this one we just consider them as 1 because we'll just pick one of them. Okay, now we want to start creating charts. So that's why you see us moving to part C, which is about creating dashboard charts. So we need to create a new worksheet called dashboard. So that's what we will do. We just come here, create a new sheet, and rename this sheet to dashboard. Okay. Once you rename this sheet to dashboard, you can now be able to look at how you can be able to come up with your result. I have already provided here and indicated which type of charts that we need to use for these different types of pivot table that we have already created. So this will be very, very smooth for all of us. All right. So for the churn rate KPI, we need a card with a big number. So we need to start with churn rate KPI. So I can just copy this. I'll come here. For my case, I will go to view and remove the grid lines, hide the grid lines, and then hide the grid lines. Yeah. And then this fill color, I can choose a slightly dark color, but of course, you can choose the color that you want. And you can even insert an image. You can even insert an image to act as your background color. You can use images to use as a background color. Go to picture from this device, or you can get from stock images. Of course, you need just to be sure that the stock images you're using, you have copyright to them. So you can see we have some of the of photos here, but you can search for a photo that you want. Maybe pattern background. Not much for me. Let me just remove this and see. Not much from pattern. Pattern. So pattern background. So you can see, you can even use this one. And you have these other types of backgrounds, and you can choose whichever background you want. I can even use this one. Click on insert. Go insert the 2 of them. Okay. So these are 2. Let me remove one. I inserted all of them at the same time. That's why they are bringing. Okay. So let's go to page layout and go to the background. I think this will be the easiest way of us changing this our background. So just go to page layout, go to background, and search from Bing. Then now here is where you can type pattern. All right. So you'll see have that one there, but let's see, without specifying background. It is just actually that is there, which you can use if you feel like you want it. But of course, you're going to get in here an image of your own. So no stress. No stress at all. Okay. Okay, so basically what we want to do is to make our work easier. We want to plot our visualization area. And you can, of course, also use this approach. Let me show you, not from the device, sorry. Stock, I think I had that. Just show you. So you can use this picture as your background if you want. You can just position it in the background area of your visual. But of course, the best way of adjusting the photo is to going at its bottom, far left, its bottom. Sorry, here. Just adjust it like that. Then you can just adjust these other sides and just have that. Yeah. So that's maybe better for us now. So we can hide other things like formula bars on this our pivot on our dashboard. So I'll still go to view and check formula bar so that it can give me more space, and also uncheck the headings so that I don't have that at all. So that I just have this way as my dashboard area. Okay, and then now I'll proceed with the steps here. So first we need to create churn rate KPI. So we need KPI here, we need clustered column chart, we need a bar chart, and we need a stacked column chart. We need column chart, line chart, and pie. Okay, so let's see. Let's create a structure first. So I'll go to insert and insert some shapes here. Of course, shapes are the greatest way of representing our data. So maybe the first thing I can have here is the title of my dashboard, which I can have it there. And I can format this fill color automatic, and then I can remove the outline. No outline. And then now I can make a copy of this, copy, Control C, Control V, and then I can of course adjust the way I want. So I might want my first KPI here. This is what we call KPIs. So you can have it here as a card. Okay. So that is, I have already sorted this churn rate. Next thing is churn by contract, which is a column clustered chart. So a column clustered chart will require a bit of space, which might require me to create a chart like this. Let me just remove this and bring the normal shape. This one. Okay, and I will keep this automatic. Remove the grid lines, outline, and then I can now create space for this. I can actually create more of this because I might even add more KPIs than just that one. So this is how we create pivot tables. However, we can even format just these things so that we format them in totality. So we can format our designs by selecting on the design we want, go to shape formats, go to effects. So I want to bring in some shadow here, and I want also to make them glow and see. So I need to perform that for all this. So that's why it's better to format one and now duplicate them once you are satisfied with how they look. Yeah. glow, and so I can make a copy of that instead of making several copies that will require me to format. Okay, and this last part, I can adjust this a little bit, and I can adjust this a little bit, and I can have this also formatted in the same manner. Make them glow, and then I can make this visual, better visual. And then I can make copies of the same. Now you can see my visual is coming out. Pretty cool. I can have this one here. Okay. I will know whatever things I'll put there. So by just having this, you're far away. So I can take a copy of this, make a copy of it, and have it just here. This one will be like my navigation bar. Okay. And maybe if I need to have something like a logo for my organization, I can also have some space for my logo for this particular organization, a logo here, which someone can click and lead them to maybe our website. Okay. So once you have this, then you are almost done. Now we start bringing these visuals here. So first thing, we will need to bring in the text for our title. So I'll bring the text box, which will be Telco Churn Dashboard. Okay. What I did is I brought a text box and then increased my font size to 40. I then made it bold, and then middle aligned it, and then I aligned it to the center. So those are the steps I've conducted there at once. Okay. Now you can see that our dashboard is coming out and it's more lively. Right? Okay. All right, so let's keep going. So let's start by creating this first card. So we have already created where the card will be. So let's create that first visual. So I'll come here, insert a text box, insert text box. So the very top of the text box will contain my title. Sorry, my title of this visual, which is just churn rate. I can type churn rate, no problem. Sorry. All right. Churn rate. Okay. 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 Submit. Right. So we'll come here and write churn rate. Also, I can choose some colors here that I want. I can remove outline to this, my text box. So you can't see that. So I will make copy this here, but this one I will center align it. This one I will replace these values and just ensure that it's selected. And then I need my formula bar to write the following. So I just come here, put equal symbol, then go to my pivot table and reference to the percentage value that I wanted, this percentage value. Then I just press OK. Okay, I'll just handle that amicably. I just have a way of handling that, so I can reference that to just a value here. It's not there. And then I can write, let's see. Okay, I can refer this one here. I'll just do this equal to. And then I can make this percentage, and then I can bring back the decimal points. Then go to the dashboard, just select this here, and then equal to, go to the pivot table, let's reference to this, press enter, and you'll have this value here. And let's make it bigger. Which is a KPI. So we might be required to make it bigger and better. Okay, you can make it bold. You can choose, of course, whichever font you want. So that one had been churn rate. That's churn rate. I can change my telco bluish to be bluish. Now, that's good. That's good. Now, let's bring first all the pivot table that we have created, and then we will now look at other elements later. So churn by contract. So let's bring a clustered column chart. So how do you get a clustered column chart? Go to the pivot table, select the pivot table you want to produce the chart. You will see pivot table analyze. You must be in where you want the pivot table that you want to produce the chart for. Go to the pivot table analyze, then look for pivot table charts. You can see these are clustered column chart, the one you see here. Click on OK, and you will see that this chart is here. So you can see it's comparing for those for month to month. Those who, yes, these are the ones who churned, those ones who are dropped out of this particular company as their customers, and then this one are the ones who are still in that company. So I can just right click this and hide all feed buttons. And then I can come and add this plus symbol and click on this add data label. If I want to have data label there, I click on this and I can click data callout so that I can call out data like this if you feel like this is the best. If that is not, you can remain with this initial one by just clicking Control C. And then we can add the chart title to our plot, and then we can remove this x-axis. And then we can remove the grid lines as well. And then just remove the grid lines, select one of the grid lines in the middle and click on backspace. And then, of course, you can choose from pre-designs here. So this one is churn by customer type, churn by contract. Churn by contract, we can also make this bold. And churn by contract, we can go with that. We can center line it. And of course, we can move it where we want. Churn by contract type. And then, of course, you have the mandate to choose some designs here. No, under format, you can choose some pre-built designs instead of developing ones from scratch. See. So you have a variety of charts here. You can use these ones, or you can insert your own background chart color. For instance, when I come here to, when I right click on my chart and go to show field list, this one will show the field list for my pivot table, my pivot chart. And let's say, you might feel, if you want to fill with the color, you can fill with the color here, but down here you'll see picture or gradient. If you have a gradient that you want to fill with, if this is particularly for the header, that's okay for the chart title. But if you want it for the overall chart, ensure that the overall chart is selected, right click, and of course, go to this drop down here under fill, and then you can look for a grid line that better suits you under this variation. You can go for more to see more grid lines here under gradients. And so you can see those gradients here. And then if you want a solid fill, you can of course have those solid fields here. Gradient, this one you can be able now to adjust your gradients here. Then you can go to pictures and or textile. These ones are redesigned textiles, which you can always get here. So you can choose which one do you want. And you can build your dashboard. If you don't want that, you can of course import your own image. You can click on insert and look for an image that you can use for your background. Okay, so you can choose for an image that you can use as a background of your chart. And click on insert if you feel that is the best. And you'll see this is how my visual looks like. So I might be required to change this color so that it aligns. So I'll come here to my home and change this color to something like white. White is better for this. And you can see that my visual is now okay. I can now go again to format and also make shadow. And then under glow, I also make this visual glow. Then I can copy this visual, which is the churn by contract type. And I can go to my dashboard and paste that here. When I paste here, so I have the flexibility to adjust my column chart to fit where I want. So basically column charts are usually good when you have, I can remove these two if I feel I don't want them, so that I can increase the size of my column charts to fit my charts. Let's see. So that's my first visual, so I can increase this size to that, so that I can also record another entry. So you can see this, the churn by contract type. So I will go back to my pivot tables, and I just need to repeat the same for all these other charts. So just come here, go to insert pivot tables, go to pivot table charts. It's this one. You can use that as well. Let's see the recommendation we had here, bar chart. So a bar chart will look like this. Go to bars, you'll see they're in this mode. So this is better. So just click on OK. And then we can hide all feed button by right clicking on one of the button, hide all feed buttons. Click on this add. This is how we did it. Check this is you. Once you click on the plus symbol, look for chart title and check that box. Here we can have churn by tenure group. Okay. So once that is done, you can remove grid lines by selecting on one of these grid lines, delete, and you can add data labels by clicking on the plus symbol and click on add data labels like this. And once you have that, you can, of course, now go to the procedure of changing the fill colors by the gradient or by the picture, and you can go to stock images and locate for that specific image that we are using for this. You can use the same image, you can use different images depending. So for consistency, I'll just use this throughout, and I will go to effects, I'll make it glow, and I'll go to effects again and shape effects, and again I'll make it have an outline. I will copy this and I will paste it on my dashboard. Sorry. Okay, join by contract type. I had my other visual is where is here. Yes. Okay. So I just ensure that it fits with no extra spaces. I select the colors later on. So I just ensure that it fits. And so it's good if I can maximize utilization of my space that I have, so that my visuals can be better. Let me see. I think I missed something somewhere. Let me copy this first. Let's see, it misplaced this my visual. And I can bring this one again. Sorry. Bring this mine again. Okay. Like that. Okay. So I have those two. Okay. All right. Now I'll proceed with the next ones. So next one is stacked column chart. Stacked column chart for churn by internet services. So I'll go to the pivot table for that. That one there. Come here, go to the pivot table, analyze pivot table charts. Stacked one looks like this. So this is the stacked one. So you can choose whatever that looks good. I think this looks better. This one looks better. So this one looks better. And I'll click on OK. So I'll have my stacked column chart here. I'll right click and hide all the feed buttons on it. And I'll click on this plus symbol to introduce the chart title. I'll remove this y-axis and remove also the green line. I will extend, increase its size a little bit and add a data label, see if it makes sense. This label might not maybe make sense for this. We'll remove the data labels and we'll put our title to it. So we'll put here churn by internet service. And then churn by internet service, I'll go the same way. I'll just go to this fill shape here, image, stock images, and I'll look for that exact image that I'm using across all my designs. And then click on insert. So if I have maybe some other adjustments that I did for this previous chart and I want them here, just select that chart and go to home, format painter, and I can format that just by clicking on this other visualization. And so you can see that. So I can go to format, shape, shadow, I make it glow, and make it glow here. So I copy this to my dashboard. So I'm looking at my dashboard, see how I can create more spaces for the visuals. About dashboards is about maximization, utilization of the spaces that you have. That is the trick. Maximum utilization of space that you have. Let me see. Of course, I will amend this. Yeah, so you can as well, if you feel this is not good for you, the stacked column chart, you can convert it into another type of chart by changing chart type. And you can go for a bar chart. Then you can also have the stacked bar chart instead of column chart so that it can maximize utilization of space going horizontally instead of vertically. just format painter to ensure that I just apply the same format across my visualization. Okay, and then I'll proceed from here. Let's move this up a little bit and up a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll move up. It's fantastic. Okay, so I'll go again, revisit. And so I have already applied this. So I have this one and I have this one. So I have churn by payment method, which is a column chart. Churn by payment method, which is a column chart. Maybe for that case, I'll use a different type of visualization. I will not go with their suggestion. I might go for a pie chart so that I can see payment methods. Payment methods are here. I can go with a pie chart. Let me see. So here I'll go to, of course, this is categorical to categorical. So that one cannot be used. Column chart cannot be used for that. Pie chart cannot be used for that. But you can even test and see what it will be looking like. It will not be as per your. So you can see this is how the distribution looks like, but it's not making any sense anymore. You can see this one is also not making any sense. So you can't use pie chart for categorical. This by variate variable, comparing by variate variable. You can't use pie chart for comparing by variate variable. Either you can use the bar chart or you can use the column chart. So that's the recommendation. So for this one, we can try 3D, see how the 3D looks like. Okay. Yeah, you can try 3D, see. I think this will not be good. Let's just change that. Let's use simple. Yeah, let's use unstacked. I think stacked will look much better than unstacked. So I'll still go back to change my chart. Stacked looks much better. Okay. Remove this x-axis, right click, y-axis, right click, and hide all field buttons. Click on this plus symbol to bring the x-axis. You can click here and try to copy some formats from this format painter, and so a few things have adjusted to the other version. And then you can put here churn by payment method here. Okay, churn by payment method. Churn by payment method. Okay, and then of course when you hover on this you'll see exact values. And then we need to change the estimate. Okay, now we can change the fill with a picture. Oh, not from the profile, but from the stock images. And for consistency, we'll just go with that one. And we'll remove all the grid lines. And yeah, that's good enough for us now. So I'll just copy this and take it to our dashboard. Yeah. Okay. So I still have more visuals that need to be represented on my dashboard, but I do not want to bombard my dashboard. My dashboard actually still have some more spaces, so we can try create more spaces for the dashboard. Let's try create more space. So we can have total charges. Let's have here total charges. We'll have total charges here. So let me just bring this text box. I'll copy it here. And I want to remind myself that I need to put here total average total charges. Okay. Average total charges. And just total charges. These are the total charges. We can have that here as total charges. And here we can have average monthly charges. Average monthly charges. So I'll just call this average monthly charges. Yeah, average monthly charges, total charges, and the churn rate. Yeah, and then now, for this my visuals, can try create more space. Yeah, so data visualization is about creating spaces for yourself and maximizing utilization of space. Become more useful. So I think I can have one visualization here or two, depending on the whatever you need to be inserted here. Okay, so okay, all right. So I can go to the pivot table, comment pivot table remaining to monthly charges, churn. Okay, and the senior citizen churn rate. So we recommend a combo line for this. This combo works. So we'll just do that combo. And we have this one for pie chart or so let's see. Okay. So can take this somewhere else. Combo. So I'll come to pivot table analyze. Let's look for combo chart, and you can see this is the combo chart. And have this another type of combo clustered and line on the second axis. Clustered with the line. So line is for yes, and this is for no. Let's see. Line chart also shows that trend of monthly charges against these categories. These are monthly charges, and of course, with their corresponding where their yeses have reached and where the no's have reached. Line chart can do better. Yeah, line chart is okay. It is easy to understand, so I'll just use the line chart. And I'll hide all field buttons on my visuals, and I'll click on my data, because my chart title. My chart title will be monthly charges versus chart. Okay, can remove this, and let's say I can get some few copy some font from the other side, and then I can go to fill color. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Then just copy that. Of course, you can make some design formats here under shape effect, and make it glow, and then make it have a shadow on it. Copy it and paste in the dashboard. Okay. 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 That is a good fit there. And then we can bring in a citizen churn. Okay, senior citizen by churn. So here we can bring in aspect of, okay, let's go pivot table analyze as a recommendation of a pie chart here from that, but that doesn't really work for us. So it's not a choice there, but unless you just want for this, yes. So you come here, you come to pivot chart analyze, come to pivot chart, and come to a chart, and you can see it doesn't work like that. Okay, so this one was not payment related. This is senior citizen. Of course, you need to correct these things so that you don't confuse. Yes, no, senior citizen, and then this one is monthly charge category. Charge category. Okay, so that's okay. If you wanted to plot, like for instance, just senior citizen and churn for that purpose, then you can create some reference fields here. So you can say for senior citizen, meaning, of course, we said no, yes. Then you can reference to their respective corresponding for yes column. There are yes column for churn. Churn. You see? Churn yes. So the number that churn. So you refer to, you say equal to here, you refer to this one because you are focusing on yes. And you say equal to, you refer to this one. Then now here, you can now perform your pie chart, carry out your pie chart. From here, you can carry out your pie chart. Remember, your pie chart will also be dynamic still because there is that referencing that you are doing from these pivot tables. So when filters will be taking place, slicers will be taking action, your chart will still be also relating to your pivot. However, when I do that here, and then that will still not be recognized as a pivot chart, but it will be a normal chart from this side, but it will be dynamic as this values will be changing. So I'll come here and select this. You see, it's different from the direct ones from pivot table. I can come here and add the data labels to my chart and have some data call out. Yeah, yes, no. So this one is senior citizen. Senior citizen. Senior citizen Chan. Just like that. Senior citizen Chan. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Alternatively, you can also do that indirectly from the pivot table. I'll also show you how to do that. Senior citizen Chan is different from monthly charges versus Chan, this versus Chan, by Chan, by Chan. This directly, this is what is needed. So for you to perform this, it's also easier. I'll just copy the same pivot table. I can show you how to do that here. And then I will click here, right click this pivot table, go to show field list. While here, I'll take a Chan, take Chan, you'll be required to take Chan again to the filter. Of course, Chan will be like your filter now to know how many Chan and how many did not. And yes, we need yes. We need those for yes, and then we can see the distribution of counts for that. So let's see. Filter Chan. Show all values. Filter settings. Let me see if I can bring in another value and see how that value will behave. It's supposed to be here. Okay. So this is okay. So it's Chan. So we put here our Chan, and from all here, we just say, just want the yes alone. And you can see that now your pivot table has only shown just this. So just the same thing. So your pivot table has just shown this. And actually, this is what was required from this pivot table. It's not by Chan, it's just senior citizen Chan. So this is not the correct pivot table for it. So this is the correct pivot table for it, which is actually here. So you can as well generate now your dynamic pivot table from here, or you can use your normal chart from here, but of course is related to the pivot table. So this is a long distance, but this is this direct shortcut to the solution. So once you have this one, you can also just populate it out. So if you need also 1, 2, for me, I wanted to change from 0, 1 to yes, no. That's why I used this approach, so that I don't have yes, no. But you can clean your data during your data cleaning and replace where everywhere there is 0 for senior citizen, you can replace that to no. And where there is 1, you can replace that to yes in the Power Query editor. So that is still possible. I append to this chart format. I put this, have some shadow, and I will make it glow. And I will now go and change the fill color. So I'll go to picture. As we said, we can go directly to and then insert it. So that's how our visual will look like. So I'll just copy this and paste this in our dashboard. Sorry. Okay, so my pivot table is good now. Good to go. All right. So that's good. Telco churn dashboard. Okay. Now we need the average charges here, and we need the total charges here. Okay. So I'll go back to my pivot tables, and for that case, for me to get my average, let me just go to my churn data, go to insert, the way I want to insert a pivot table. Say I have an existing place where I want to have my pivot table. Go to where your existing space is, click on this arrow to go back, click on OK. And now here I'll just take total charges to values. And instead of sum, I just change from sum values only, and I change that to average. We said we wanted total, yeah. We wanted total. Total is sum. So that is the exact total charges. So I need to do the same, but for monthly charges, but I will have to do the average for monthly, so that I can know that on average, how are my customers paying. So I'll go to values and then change that to average for this second one, but this one will now be for monthly charges and not total. Average, click on OK. So I have average here, and I have the sum of the total. So now I can go to my dashboard, insert my text box, or I can copy this one here and also paste it here. Then now we replace their values here in the formula bar. So I'll delete this and reference to the first one, will reference to the total from the average revenue. So when I go to my dashboard, I'll see, just wait a minute. Let me see. What's my past? My 64. So let me remove this first. And as I said, you have to click here and then click here. Go to the pivot table, select. Let me see, not seeing that affecting. Let me see, let me bring in new text boxes and see. Insert a text box. I'll insert a text box here and click on here. Come here, click on equal to and reference to a pivot table here. Click on enter and click on OK. Of course, as we said, yes. Just remember there how we approach that. So what you need to do, just insert a text box. Insert a text box You see? Then go to the pivot table. Just create a reference cell from here to this pivot table. Press enter. The same thing to this, equal to reference to this cell. So instead of referencing directly to these ones, you can reference to these ones. And then this one are revenue, so we can format them from general to currency. And our currency in this case was not just currency, but rather it was USD. But we can use dollar symbol for that, but let's just, for consistency, use USD. Yeah. So that is USD, and this one is also USD. So now you can go to our dashboard, ensure that your pen is not active. So you just click on the border lines. Click on this space, the formula bar of this particular borderline. While selecting on this particular borderline, write an equal symbol, go to the pivot table, and select the value for this average monthly, the second one now. Press on enter, you'll have your value there. And then you can, of course, copy the format painter from here and apply to this one so that you don't repeat the same procedure. And you'll copy this, of course, and you can paste here. Oh, sorry. Let's see the total USD for this one. So we will again repeat the same thing. We'll not reference to that pivot table, but we'll reference to this other one. Sorry, I haven't deleted this yet because it has some values in it. So I'll just ensure that you click on the very top, click on this formula bar, click on equal symbol, go to the pivot table and reference to this one. Press enter. You'll have this. Come here, select on this one, format painter, and paint this other one. So this value is very big. So we can just reduce this to 16. Let's see, that value is still big. Let's reduce this to, you can see that value is a very big value as the total charges that are received by this particular company. So you can use this USD, or you can use, instead of using this very long, we can use this English United States. I think this will make our work easier. Yeah, for this. And then I think our value will now fit. Still big, so I can just use that one. Now you can see that our dashboard has taken shape. So if you have a logo for a business, as a business logo, remove these grid lines. I want to remove these grid lines. Not grid lines, but the outline for this telco. Outline. Outline. And then I can minimize this. And once I minimize that, I have more space. Okay, so I can move my things up and everything. Okay, so let's bring in some slicers. Let's bring in some slicers to our visual so that we can have dynamic interaction of our dashboard. So we'll move to slicers, adding interactivity to our charts. So we want to add slicers for gender, contract, internet services, senior citizen, and senior group. Okay, but for my case, I think I have some other field that I did not include, so I'll not go with that choice. So, but of course, you can just follow that. So go to the pivot table. So select select any of these pivot, then go to pivot table analyze, then go to insert slicer. You select gender, You can select if someone has a partner, if they have dependents. You can have this tenure, and of course you can choose whichever, and even these other services if you need, you have more space. Tenure group, not tenure group is good. If they're senior citizens, of course, if you want, those ones can help you answer those questions that you had, payment method and the contract. Let's just select those and click on OK. So you'll see all these are what we call slicers. They help us be able to filter our data well. So I'll just minimize a lot of extra spaces so that we have clean slicers. Okay. Once you have these slicers, we have to report connection. So let's take these slicers to the other side and we'll see what they do, and then we'll know why reporting connection is important. So we'll take our slicer here. That's for gender. Partner. Dependent. Contract. Payment method. And then we have senior group. So yeah, you can put a logo. You can put this other side, or you can even put one of the other slicers this other side. So we just do that. Put one of other slicers this side. So this side is where you can put the logo so that everything can be together on one other side. Especially the filters, it's good to easily locate them at the same point. So, so let's make settings for this slicer so that just resizing. Okay. Right. This is gender. You can report connection for it. But before then, trying to check some things here. Right. Let's see in a minute. All right. So I want us to change the orientation of this gender selection, and we'll go to slicer menu and increase the number of columns so that we can have them as 2 to utilize the space that is above. We can remove gender if we don't want, so that it just remain with male and female instead of having gender there. We already know, so we can just right click and go slicer settings and remove the header and click on OK. So that means it will just remain with male and female without having header there that this is male and this is female. And then we can take our last slicer, which was the Tinya crew, to be at as the main the first slicer here on our main slicers here. Okay, and yeah, that is it. Now this is our full dashboard. So if you have a logo, you can insert it here. Logo, you can just insert a simple, let's say, just insert an icon, and we can use that as a logo, as for learning for a logo. So yeah, so we can use something like this, insert here, this one here. So let's say, for instance, suppose this is our logo, so we can have it here. Then we can create a link for it, and we can link it to an address. So HTTPS, maybe www.beyonddata.ict.com. So this will be leading people to our website. Click on OK. So that means that this one will be responsive. This will be a responsive image. So if this is your logo, you see, when someone clicks on it, it will be redirected. So yeah, this, when now I click on these slicers, you see that I don't see any changes. When I click on this one, I see changes on only one visualization. Only this one visual is changing. When I come to partner, I'll clear this. When I come to partner, There is no any visual that relates to partner that is changing here. So we haven't reported any connection there. When I come to dependent, there is nothing that is changing on the dependent. When I come to contracts, one visual is changing here on contracts. Okay, and I go to the payment method. So nothing is actually changing much here. So we need to report connection for all our visuals to work well. So what do we need to do? We need to come to this, let's say gender, right click, report connection. We check all these tables that you see here. Just check all the tables you see here. Just check all the tables you see here and click on OK. So when you do that, now when you select on female, you can see those numbers changing. You can see that our dashboard is now changing. Come here, also do the same. Right click, click on report connection, and ensure that you check all these other. Click on OK, and there you go. And this data is telling stories. So if you're keen on it, you will be informed on the stories coming from this data. When I come here also, I can right click, go to report connection, and just select everything from this. Ensure that all these boxes are checked, click on OK. So when you click on partner, at least you see that variation and the implication they are causing on the organization on each particular element. Okay. Same thing to contracts, right click, report connection. And so we go to payment method, right click, also report connection for the payment method. Click on OK. So you can see that is now, everything is now in order. So you can apply all the slices that you want. All right. So this is now our full dashboard that we have been able to achieve. So you can click on this arrow for you to have more space for your dashboard. And you can see now our dashboard is now live and ready for use. And you can remove filters by clicking on this. You're good to go. Yeah. Thank you very much for following along and transforming your data from this to this, and finally to this and to this. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. And we have data analysis courses that we're offering at BeyondData ICT. So take your time to look at our website, www.beyonddataict.com. Whatever you want to learn. If you want to learn business intelligence, we have courses on Microsoft Power BI. We have courses on Tableau. We have courses on Python programming for data analysis, also for data science. We also train R and also train Stata, SQL, anything data. We train from data collection, data cleaning, developing robust data collection tools for monitoring and evaluation, for research in the field, and all that. So what you just need to do, visit our website. If you have any inquiry, get an email address on our website or get a phone number on our website and contact us, and we'll be able to support you. We have courses that are absolutely for beginners, and we can guide you on where you can be able to start. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. Goodbye. It was a pleasure to having you. My name is Emmanuel, Data and Digital Tools Trainer. Goodbye.